Phew. I'm beginning to see where the issues could come from. If I do this. This should help a lot. Oh well, since this time it crashed really thoroughly. Well, anyways, as always. Oh, people are back. I'm beginning to understand the pattern between the crashes of the stream. As long as there is a Twitch interaction between...
Nerdthagoras says that's good.
Yes, as long as there is a greater interaction between OBS and Twitch beyond the chat, the stream tends to crash. So like there's a follow and the thing pops up on the OBS that you can see but I cannot, or for example right now when I clicked on your name, opened the channel, and that crashed. It wasn't the me following you part, it's opening your channel through OBS part that ended up crashing it. Oh yeah. I gotta
Nerdthagoras says yes, seems to be
yeah.
OBS.
It might be the extra data that goes through my computer to Twitch and from and to Twitch that is interpreted through OBS. Oh yeah. Hey, if I Google it, there might be people with the exact same issue. If it's genuinely a computer spec issue, because in that case there would be plenty of examples.
Nerdthagoras says, is your OBS up to date?
I don't know. If it updates automatically, then yes. If not, then no. So it might not be. If it's genuinely that's causing an issue, then shit. Then I'm really messed up.
Nerdthagoras says it may inform, but you have to tell it to update.
Though, if it's genuinely a version update issue, then it's actually a good thing for me because I don't have to do extra work. So I'm going to upgrade it right away after
Nerdthagoras says exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You've opened my eyes to potential solutions of the problem. I just remembered when the other guy ended up raiding me, I could just see his viewers leaving one after the other. It's situations like this that make me feel so boring.
Nerdthagoras says that happens for other reasons too.
Yeah.
Nerdthagoras says people are just people.
I should look at the part that nearly every stream has a new person that joins in and chats with me. That nearly every stream has that. Granted, it's mostly advice to me because I'm doing badly, but hey, there are people who actually enjoy my company. It's actually one of the reasons why I keep going to keep streaming. We would unite more than one person was there, because the pauses are killing me. And I can't ask one person to be extremely active. That would be too much. Yeah.
Nerdthagoras says, yet I struggle with that too.
Well, at least right now there are actually people who chat. The first few streams were done to
Nerdthagoras says,
0.
seems like the same people are very active in other streams.
Yeah, people who end up... actually, should wait.
Nerdthagoras says, but on mine they're not.
Ooh, feels bad. That sounds really
Nerdthagoras
demoralizing.
says, just means I need to keep going, till I find my people.
Exactly. You just have to surround yourself with people that enjoy your company, and then you'll have an active community. In which case, you'll actually have more interesting stuff to say, which will allow you to have more people join in because you're interesting, which will once again make it easier to make good content. It's a feedback loop.
Nerdthagoras says, which can only happen if I can be predictable to when I stream.
Yeah. You gotta make you gotta aim for a certain basically you gotta aim for a certain audience.
Nerdthagoras says, maybe next year I'll make a schedule.
Yeah. Is it a New Year's resolution? No one keeps those. The real killer of plans is saying next day, tomorrow.
Nerdthagoras says, exactly. I don't need to wait till the new year to change habits.
Yeah, but it's so difficult to start today. Like,
Nerdthagoras says, but there is no use try to fight with Christmas, haha.
Yeah, true. Christmas time. Whether you want it or not, it's coming. You can't stop it. Especially the music or the Home Alone movie. That happens every year and will probably happen many more years. You can be sick of it, but it's gonna come back next year. It would be nice if there were basically new movies, not just the same ones. Same with songs, Christmas songs. Well, they've gotten old.
Nerdthagoras says, I'm pretty old. I have felt all different ways about Christmas.
Oh. You don't have to be old to feel all different ways about it. At least
Nerdthagoras says, right now, I'm just done with negativity.
that sounds nice. Just done with negativity. At least with the way you've written it sounds like a positive thing. I hope I didn't misinterpret it.
Nerdthagoras says, it is. I like life.
That's a great thing to be able to say without hesitation. Not everyone can. Even if life is going well, it might not feel like it is.
Nerdthagoras says I just got bored of hating.
Yeah, that's getting bored of hating. Can only be done through if you felt that a lot. That kind of feels sad, but that's just life. Hmm. Oh, I just remembered when I tried to edit a video once.
Nerdthagoras says now, I feel good, by
That's
doing
nice.
good.
So when I tried to edit a video once, on moments where there weren't any background sounds, the sound quality was goddamn awful. Because it would just cut off to complete silence due to the audio filters and everything. And the sudden starts of audio, it sounded straight up awful, and and that was the point that I realized just how many awkward silences I leave when it comes to talking, especially if I'm talking by myself without any chat engagement, because I tend to pause a lot. A consequence of not having too much experience in talking in real life. Oh yeah. I keep seeing people joining in the stream, but this is the end of it. Which, after you said some interesting stuff, at least stuff that caught my attention, has been postponed quite a while. Oh, good mental health is such a good thing that I'm envious of. But hey, the first step to improving your mental health is recognizing that it has some issues.
Nerdthagoras says that his whole effort and experience comes in.
Yeah, the most important step is to start. And well, the most important step is actually understanding the issue. Because without understanding what the issue is, you can't take the first step to rectifying it. And I'm currently at that step and really well acquainted with my internal feelings.
Nerdthagoras says best thing I did was to learn to meditate, or as I like to think of it, practicing controlling your focus.
Would love to be able to. You see, ADHD is it kind of trips you up when it comes to meditation. Try to close your eyes, stay in silence, and you'll get bored out of your
Nerdthagoras
mind.
says I have ADHD too.
Oh. A piece of advice I've heard about meditating when it comes to having ADHD is to do it with open eyes. Or imagine music would, or just white noise would help. Just some stimulation.
Nerdthagoras says your mind is going to wander a bunch of times a second.
Oh,
but each
so
time just go back to breathing.
Oh. Never give up, like a shonen protagonist, huh? Wandering mind, huh? So you focus on breathing
Nerdthagoras says I had to do it for over a year, every day.
That sounds really difficult. Consistency is the most difficult thing.
Nerdthagoras says before I saw results.
Yeah.
Nerdthagoras says I used a game on Steam called Plane.
Lane? Never heard of
Nerdthagoras
that
says
game.
it's a meditation game.
Quickly. No. Meditation game. Playing the meditation game. Guess that would be really helpful. Rather than just sitting there and doing it like regular. Because dopamine. It helps with the dopamine, huh?
Nerdthagoras says I'm still ADHD, but now I feel better about it. And I don't get as distracted.
Yeah, not as distracted. Yeah, that part's never gonna go away. Well, I'm also much better
Nerdthagoras
with
says it's not a cure.
Nothing is a cure. Just ways to cope and adapt. Actually, when it comes to the ADHD stuff,
Nerdthagoras says just have to be less emotionally negative about things.
yeah, that's a very difficult part of that, because when you live your whole life with the
Nerdthagoras says I know.
with the consequences of how ADHD affects it, it's pretty damn difficult to make positive. Because things that are easy to others are difficult to you, and when your parents don't understand that, it's not pleasant. But ever since I've moved out and started living by myself, my mental health's actually improved, because I'm no longer...
Nerdthagoras says I used to get very pissed off when I forgot things because I wasn't paying attention. But if you just accept that is how you are, then you spend less time hating yourself over things.
Exactly. Because, as I said, moving out, it helped my mental health a lot, because there wasn't anyone around to judge me or to really disappoint. Not a great way of putting it, but yeah, when you don't have people just constantly in your
Nerdthagoras says yes, getting out of the environment that made you helps a lot.
Yeah, because a lot of the time, at least with my parents, they didn't take the time to understand me, and that ended up spiraling into self-hate. And that self-hate, even after a few years, has not completely gone. And kind of feels like it'll wane, but not necessarily ever truly go away. That's the sad thing about trauma.
Nerdthagoras says I spent most of my life around people who would be spit with me over things I had no control of.
Yeah. I've tried going to higher education twice, both failed. But once I've given up...
Nerdthagoras says now I live alone, and I love it.
Yeah, because when you're alone, you have way more control of how you do stuff. Whether it's cleaning, or washing the dishes, or other stuff. So, and that helps a lot, having more more control in your own hands rather than having to adapt to other people you live with. So that's really helpful.
Nerdthagoras says the hard part is not become those who controlled you, but to yourself.
Well, at least in my case, that isn't a difficult part for me, because of just how vastly different I was from anyone else in my family. So
Nerdthagoras says that's good.
But still, being myself is still difficult, because growing up in an environment which wants you to be one way when you're another makes it difficult to simply be yourself. But I'm working on it. I even dyed my hair. Just being honest with my own desires and going along them. Would be easier if I had a lot of disposable income, but hey, gotta be realistic on that part. That also means I have bought a lot of stuff I have not used yet.
Nerdthagoras says I think I grew up with a level of autism, and no one else in my family knew it because I was so high functioning. But they didn't understand my actions to some things, and neither did I.
Yeah. Though I don't exactly know about autism or ADHD in the medical sense. I do have some suspicion about having both. That nearly certain about the ADHD, but I don't know if those symptoms I've shown come from the overlapping traits of ADHD and autism, or is it just autism? Although I imagine when I told my mother about potentially having having ADHD the first time, she brushed me off. You don't have it. Then a couple years later, when I once again told about it and had more arguments, what she said is that she knew.
Nerdthagoras says you don't have it means I don't want to deal with that.
No, if it was just that, that wouldn't have been so hurtful. It's her acknowledgement of knowledge of it. That part was really fucked up to me.
Nerdthagoras says yeah.
She knew that I showed traits of it since early on and didn't jack about it. Because from what I read, children that are medicated for ADHD from early on don't need a medicine in later life because their neural development is developed closer to neurotypical brain. So I am curious about getting an official diagnosis, and how does having ADHD meds feel? Though at this point, kinda scared about it. Living your whole life one way.
Nerdthagoras says my son is more autistic than I am. And I spend a lot of time trying to understand it rather than dismiss it. I want him to know how to operate himself in my absence.
Yeah, trying to understand your child is a really good sign. Unlike a lot of...
Nerdthagoras says I've been on a bunch of ADHD meds. And I didn't like any of them.
Yeah, that really depends on the person. because sometimes even fully functioning ADHD meds may cause some may be taken negatively because you simply don't feel like yourself, I imagine. So at this point, I imagine that I will never end up taking ADHD meds. Simply
Nerdthagoras says meditation worked for me. It's not for everyone, and some people need meds.
Yeah. For me, I've adapted enough and understand when, at least when it comes to work itself, I have no issues with functioning in that regard. So it's basically just every other aspect of my life that's affected by ADHD, which I guess.
Nerdthagoras says, but it will take time to find the right ones, so be prepared for a year of mood regulation as you go though them finding the right ones.
I guess. So, at least for me, as my work life isn't affected negatively, at least significantly, by ADHD, I might be able to be considered a high functioning one, huh? Due to the fact I kind of feel doubts whether I'd actually have it or not.
Nerdthagoras says ADHD used to be my superpower.
Yeah, it feels like a superpower until it doesn't. And then it feels like a curse.
Nerdthagoras says then I got older, and I felt left behind.
Yeah, because I've heard a great example about your school results when it comes to ADHD. You
Nerdthagoras says I got tired, and it stays strong, haha.
About a joke of getting more RAM. Like, a lot of people with ADHD get through school just fine without being noticed because they persevere through it through sheer intelligence, as was my case. I ended up going through 12 years of general education without much issue because of sheer capability of learning on during the lessons. Then came university, and then I just dropped off because you can hardly get through.
Nerdthagoras says yes, same, except I did it during the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm. And I heard.
Nerdthagoras says so ADHD was less understood.
Yeah, the thing about understanding of ADHD, I actually haven't heard of the term until my 20s. When I was 20 was the very first time I've even heard the term, and it took a few months before I actually read a description of what it actually was. Oh. You know, I've just took a look at what the stream manager says it, and what the Twitch sat on my on the OBS says, and there is a difference. So ADHD was less understood, and the stream manager censored so ADHD. Yet other mentions of it are not censored. That's weird. I don't know what to think of that.
Nerdthagoras says yeah, so inconsistent.
So, can you see the it being? Do you see that last one being censored or uncensored? Because I think the more important part is whether the chatters see it.
Nerdthagoras says no, I see uncensored.
Okay, so it censored it for me in the stream manager. For some reason? Huh. Okay, that's genuinely
says
strange.
I've never seen any censoring.
Huh. So probably the same thing happens when Valentina got launched in the space station. When it was censored on the stream manager, yet probably wasn't censored on the chat. Now I'm confused about... now I'm more confused about Twitch and OBS and stuff. Oh. Looking at how I'm currently... in my current state, I'd love to have a standing table. Especially the one that can shift between sitting and standing. Because right now... I basically on my knees behind the chair in front of the computer. So what's your experience with sitting and standing when it comes to using the computer? Could you tell me?
Nerdthagoras says on your knees.
Yep. I would stand, but then I wouldn't be able to see the
says
monitor
I have an
as
office
well.
Chair.
Oh, that part doesn't really matter to me. Just standing. There comes a moment where I'm doing something and I just want to stand in front instead of sit. In that case, having an adjustable standing table would be so good. Because I wouldn't need to bend down and stuff and could just stand straight.
Nerdthagoras says yet I have thought about an adjustable desk a few times.
Those tables, the desks sound so good to me because I am actually more comfortable with standing than sitting. Well, out of the three positions of laying, sitting, and standing, I find sitting the least comfortable out of the three. Yet I have to spend considerable of yet I spent a considerable amount of time in one of those. Do you have any advice about ending stream? Because I always, at the end, I always feel so awkward not knowing what to say or if it's an appropriate moment to end stream. So it always ends really awkwardly, at least to me. Any advice on that front?
Nerdthagoras says you can decide when to end. Just decide to do it. And be confident when you do.
Yeah. You know, I've decided to end stream over half an hour ago, but we just kept on talking. And I... running out of things to say and and I don't know if it feels like the right moment or not.
Nerdthagoras says, well, I need to go, so I hope you had a good time and I'll see you in the next one.
That's how you end stream, huh?
Nerdthagoras says just say something like that.
Yeah. For now, pretty much every time I've ended the stream, there basically weren't any people
Nerdthagoras
left.
says, or have a catchphrase that is repeated. Make it your
Oh,
thing.
yeah, I already have that. It kind of feels cringy, but I've just started using that and pretty much ended every stream with it. Okay.
Nerdthagoras says people expect it to be honest.
I wonder how many people have actually heard it, because it just tends to happen at the end of the stream. Just people, there's no people left usually. Okay. Well, I'm thinking of ending it here for today. And as always, all good things must come to an end.
Nerdthagoras says the best advice is, stream like you have a full stream, no matter the numbers.
Yeah, I am genuinely doing that, whether there's 0, 1, or 3 on a good day. And I just keep streaming like there are people. Because you never know when someone will join in, and you might not notice it. So, as always, all good things must come to an end. Bye! That's what I've been saying each time. I don't exactly know why I've started it to say this, but hey,
Nerdthagoras
it's my
says
thing
that
now.
walks.
It walks. Okay. Bye. See you around.
Nerdthagoras says my typing is horrid.
Yeah.